All right. Good evening. My name is Kazimbe Abena, and this is Cultivating Intimacy. And I'm Kazimbe Abena, the Heart Whisperer, and it's great to be here. Great to be here. Hey, Sierra. Thanks for joining, love. Thank you. So I'm just coming off of Sierra's show, Grown Folks Business, and it was fantastic. Goddess Sierra and Goddess Erlene. It was wonderful. All right. Got some folks joining up. Hello, Aaliyah. Hey, Derek. How you doing? You're welcome. Thank you so much, Sierra. All right, Sam, the soloist. Welton, how are you? Been a long time since I've seen you, Sam. How you doing? All right, folks. So tonight I'm going to talk about the 5 love languages a little bit, and it's a great book for those that have not heard about it or not read it. And I actually want to show it to you. So I'm going to be really pulling from this, the 5 love languages, and it's by Gary Chapman. Gary Chapman, if you can see that there. Gary Chapman, the 5 love languages. He's written several books. He's got love languages for children, love languages for husbands, love languages for wives, love languages for singles. He's just got it all over the place. So he's got a lot going on. Hakeem, how are you, my friend? So the format today will be as it always is. I'm going to talk for about 30 minutes on the subject. Again, tonight the subject is love languages, and I'll be talking specifically about words of affirmation. Words of affirmation. Hey, Carmelita, how are you? Good to have you. Then, hey, Gary, how are you, my friend? Then, actually, what I'm going to do is, I think it's Jerry. It's been a long time since I've seen you, brother. Let me say, Dr. White. How you doing, Dr. White? I don't want to mess your name up, brother. So then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some questions, and hopefully, I'll have a chance to channel some questions that you have, if you have any. I want to say in advance, if I miss your post, if you post a question and I miss it, it is completely by accident. It's not intended. So I've got 49-year-old eyes. So sometimes, they deceive me. So my apologies in advance. And if I do miss you, just send me a personal message, and I'll make sure that I get your question. If I don't get it this time, I'll make sure that I answer it next time. I've done that before. Last time I was able to do that. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and I think just go ahead and jump into this. So again, this is about the love languages, and we're talking about words of affirmation first. So I really love the love languages, and the reason that I do is because we always talk about us as people getting what we want, and that's part of it. That's half the story. But if we're in a relationship with someone, we also need to make sure that we're giving them what they need, because it is a reciprocal and hopefully synergistic relationship that we're getting involved in. If we are forming a relationship or developing a relationship with a significant other. So I think that the 5 love languages is a great tool to use to help foster the relationship and provide a strong, even stronger foundation of love and respect and listening. It really, really kind of forces you to listen. And I'll go into a couple things tonight that are going to emphasize that. So I first heard about the love languages, I don't know, probably, at least 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I guess. And actually, let me see when this book, the first copyright, I want to make sure I'm coming correct here with this date. 92. 92, 95, 2004. So it's been a minute. So it may have even been 10 years because it's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Um, so I think Gary Chapman is really on something. And he's been, you know, a counselor for years. For years. So the reason that love languages are also really important is because a lot of psychologists, obviously, this will be no surprise, have determined that love is one of the primary needs that we have. Love and affection that we need as human beings is one of our primary needs. So, you know, the love languages gives us a way, as is denoted in the title, languages, a way to communicate that love to our spouses and also to ask for what we need. Hello, Stephanie. How are you? So it's really a great, it's a great blueprint for that. Yes, Kamala, it is a great book. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you. So, you know, for me, again, as the Heart Whisperer, it's definitely something that I wanted to present to people and I wanted to talk about. And one of the things that the Love Languages talks about as well is the fact that if we have a love tank, and if we don't receive the love that we need, we tend to act out in various ways. And that means that our love tank is empty. So receiving love and making sure that we understand what our love language is, and making sure that our partner understands what our love language is, and we making sure that we give the proper love language to our spouse and that we receive our proper love language can be one of the ways that our love tank stays full. And when our love tank stays full, we feel desired, we feel wanted, we feel affirmed, we feel encouraged, and we feel needed. And those are just basic human needs. Those are basic human desires. Very, very basic. Unfortunately, in I think as fast-paced a society as we have here in the West, and things appear to only be getting faster decade to decade, a lot of people are not being filled. A lot of people are not, their love tanks are low or completely empty. They're frustrated, they don't know why. And I think that the rigors of day-to-day life and living can really be a lot for people. So if you cueing into a love language can give you kind of a way to refocus your attention back on the things that matter, and a tool to refocus on your relationship. So with the words of affirmation, there are 5. I'm going to start with the words of affirmation tonight. And the words of affirmation are really important because, as I said earlier, we have a way to feel appreciated. And so words can give us that feeling of being appreciated. Exactly. And Sierra says it's what starts, it starts in the mind. And we talked about that on her show, Grown Folks, a few minutes ago. Absolutely. Absolutely. So words have the ability to raise up, create love, kindness, and gender support, or to tear down and create conflict and hurt and pain. And, you know, we often, I think sometimes, if our love tank is empty or low, we find ourselves talking out of hurt and pain, which can easily turn into resentment if we're not getting what we need. So we really want to try to avoid that at all costs. But when we are talking positively to one another, our words of affirmation or our words of encouragement can give confidence, hope, advice, guidance, support, and also help to develop, and also just help to arouse and help to give a person drive. So there's 3 different types of words of affirmation. So the first one is encouraging, the second one is kind words, and the third one is humble words. So 3 types of words of affirmation: encouraging words, kind words, and humble words. So let's start with encouraging words first. Encouraging words are really important because it can actually help give our spouse the drive that they need to do something that they want. Now, the operative word here is, or the operative phrase here is, encourage them to do something that they want to do. That they want to do. So encouraging words really requires empathy. So if you are with a mate and you think they need to lose weight and they're not ready to lose weight yet, and you call yourself encouraging them, and you're saying, why don't you go work out? Hey, let's do this, let's do that. And they don't want to yet, it's not exactly encouragement, because it needs to be something that they want to do. It doesn't mean that you don't try to get them to be healthier if they're not being healthy, but it means that that is not the way to do it. It's not really encouragement. It'll seem like nagging or badgering, or it could even turn into the person feels that they're being demeaned because of their weight. Hello, Eve. So I think that's really important. The beauty of encouraging words is that there may be a skill, there may be a gift that your spouse or that you are interested in, but you don't have quite enough courage or confidence that you need to embark upon that skill or that talent, or explore that talent. Encouraging words from someone close to us can give us that drive to take the next step, that drive to step out of our comfort zone. And it's really important because we tend to want to do more if we know that we're not by ourselves. If you hear from your spouse that they think you're a good painter and you've been on the fence about it, and just hearing those words that someone has acknowledged your skill as a painter, that could be all that you need to start painting. And that act of you painting is something that gives you joy and relief, and that could relieve stress. That could give you the confidence that you need to think about yourself in a different way throughout the day. It could just really change your life, just that simple word there. So encouraging words are very, very important. And it's also about us giving credit, again, and that's why it's about focusing in on something that the person already wants to do, that the person has already acknowledged that is important to them. Not that it's just important to us, but that it's important to them, the person that we're trying to encourage, that we're trying to lift up and exalt. All right, so the second type of words of affirmation is kind words. So it's important to know that love is kind, and our tone really matters a lot. Our tone really matters a lot. So I think one of the old adages is that a kind word can turn away anger. So I think it's important to always remember the tones in which we speak to people, particularly our significant spouses and our lovers, our husbands, our wives. No one is going to do the right thing all the time. It's just not possible. And I think it's important to note that if they make a mistake, if they quote unquote fail, that they may not be a failure, that they just made a mistake, that they failed at doing something. So they're not a failure, so therefore that mistake can be dealt with and you all can still move on. But it's all about how we approach that transgression. We can approach it from a place of hurt, which you can still say kindly, but you can also approach it from a place of anger. You can approach it from a place of resentment, from spite, from revenge, where now you're trying to hurt the other person because you want to hurt them the way they hurt you. While that may feel good in the moment, it's obviously not the best tool to reach an understanding and to move past it. And sometimes people do things to us that they are not really aware of. They weren't aware that that was that sensitive of a subject for us. They weren't aware that that was a hot point that we had developed in childhood. Now we're carrying it into adulthood. They weren't aware that they weren't being comforting. They weren't aware that their words were harsh because of the way that they've been raised. Perhaps they've just been raised in a family where they talk a certain way to people. So I think that kind words is about the tone that we use and expressing the fact that we've been hurt, but expressing it in a way where the person can atone for it and can apologize and move on. I'll never forget, I was in a relationship, this was many years ago, and I had an issue with a girlfriend, and she wanted me to say something about it, and so I was trying to, but she was, well, say something. What is it? Say, what is it? And she was badgering me about it and really attacking me about it. So that let me know that, all right, well, if I say something, it's not going to be received. Because even before she hears it, she's attacking me already. So if we have an issue with someone, it's really important that we check our tone first and that we come to them with compassion and as a human being. It's very important to express our hurt, but we can come to them with compassion and let them know, like, listen, you hurt me, and I'm going to let you know that. However, I am open to us discussing this and listening to each other and moving past it to repair it, as opposed to, I just want to hurt you because you hurt me. Then you have two hurt people, and not a lot comes out of that. So with that, within using kind words, we also know that the important thing is forgiveness. It's almost like you are anticipating that you're going to forgive the person before you even get to that point. Like you want to forgive that person, as opposed to you want them to feel the hurt. Stan, how are you, buddy? Thanks for joining. As opposed to if you respond with revenge and bitterness, that you only want to hurt them and that's your only goal. But if you respond with kindness, it says, it can very well communicate, listen, I'm hurt, you disappointed me even, but I'm willing to forgive you, so my tone is reflecting that I'm knowing that we're going to get past this. I'm knowing that we're going to get past this. And my tone is not here to incite further conflict, but my tone is to express my emotional pain in hoping that you receive it so that we can come to an understanding and we can move past this. So kind words are very important. All right, so the next one is humble words. Humble words. So this is something that you hear a lot of couples talking to each other a certain way. We have demands. We don't make demands. We don't make requests. We make demands. Well, they should want to do it anyway. They should know better because, you know, they're my husband or they're my wife or they're my girlfriend or they're my boyfriend. They should know better anyway. So they know they need to do this. All right. Well, here's another side of that. Humble words is really important because humble words means that we ask things and it's a request. So if it's a request and someone agrees to do it, they agree to meet our request, they've made a decision. It's a choice. So if someone does something that they choose to do as opposed to from a demand feeling pressured or guilted to do, it's more meaningful. It's more meaningful. They've done it of their own accord. They've done it of their own volition. So it carries more weight. They didn't do it out of fear. They didn't do it out of guilt. They didn't do it out of shame. They did it because they love you and they want to see you happy. So when we use humble words and we request things, baby, would you mind taking out the garbage tonight? Or baby, would you mind dropping this off? I'm just too tired, you know. It gives someone a choice. And I think that humble words are also a combination of kind words. Again, because it's the tone that we use. It's the tone that we use as well. And then we can get we can get what we want in a much easier way, a much easier, a much more pleasant way. And the person doesn't feel pressured, so the person doesn't build resentment. They're not bitter because they chose, not out of pressure, but out of love, to comply with your request. So I want to just say a couple more things in terms of what we can do in terms of words of affirmation, like how we can start that in our own relationships. Just 3 or 4 things that we can do. Number one, I would say actually, if your spouse, if one of their love languages is words of affirmation, put that on your mirror. Put it on your vanity mirror, put it in your mirror in your bathroom so that you know. So it stays in your mind that that's what they need to feel loved. So that's number one. And whatever it may be, I'll be going over more affirmations later. And the other thing is, let's also make a book. I think it's good to make a book of affirmations. If you're around town or you hear something, you see something on TV, or you read something in a book, or you hear someone say something, it's good to just jot it down so that you may have a journal full of affirmations. Now here's the catch. Here's the catch. You want to say affirmations that you truly believe, that are sincere. Hey Miriam, you don't want to say affirmations that are insincere, because then it'll seem like it's not really being said out of love. It's posturing. You're putting on airs. You're acting like it. But choose affirmations that really support the person in who they are and what they want to do. Next one is decide to record all the affirmations that you say to your spouse in a week. Write them down. Write the day and what affirmations you said, just so that you can make sure you're on your game. And again, it's all if that is their love language, is that's what they like to hear, be there for it. And go ahead and represent it, and make sure that you've written it down, and be aware of it. Also that you don't repeat yourself. Hey Dana. And then at the end of the week, sit down with your spouse and read over them. Read over them and see how they felt about them, and just reiterate them. It's a time for you guys to be together, to come together and talking about positive things that uplifted your mate, things that made them feel good. And then a final thing that we can do is to just challenge ourselves to write a different affirmation every day for a month, or have a different affirmation to say to our spouse, our mate, our lover every day for a month. That's an easy way to challenge ourselves as well. So just some quick tips on how to infuse affirmation into your life and with your spouse. So I particularly love affirmations. They're very important for me. And they're important for me because I can be pretty self-critical. So I need someone around me to kind of pull me up out of that, because I can be kind of a bit perfectionist sometimes. So I need someone to pull me up out of that. So when I hear something, when someone tells me, hey, this really looks good, or, thank you for that, or I like how you did that, that's good for me. That works for me. But at the same time, I do need for it to be sincere. One of the worst things we can do is to blow smoke, and it's just not, then there's no fire. It's not sincere. So we want to make sure that we are sincere. We absolutely want to make sure that we're sincere. That's huge, because therein lies the trust. Your mate needs to know that the words coming out of your mouth are authentic, that they can trust you to speak honestly and truthfully with them at all times. Really, really important. That's going to deepen the connection, and that is going to really help to also further lay the foundation of love. And Carmelita says, I know that perfection paralysis cycle. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Same thing here, indeed. So any more comments or any questions about love languages, I'd be happy to answer. In my sessions, dealing with people, I hear this often about a difference of expression. And it's a mistake to think that someone else should have the same love languages that we have. I know we can kind of get self-absorbed, and that's understandable. But we need to understand that, you know, our love languages may not be the same as someone else's. And there typically are two main ones that really kind of do it for us. So again, for me, my first one is words of affirmation. Not only is it the first one that I'm presenting tonight, but it really is one of my top ones. Yes, and Dana says, and your mate knows because they can feel it. Absolutely. Please don't try to swindle or sweet talk or play or game your mate. That is a huge mistake. That's a huge mistake. They're not someone on the street. They're the person that you're looking to either build a life with or someone that you care about intensely. And my man Woody Steele, Stan says the same thing. Authenticity. Amen. Absolutely. We've got to be authentic. We've got to be authentic. And I've spoken about authenticity before and how important it is. I think that in the home, it's just that much more important. Cousin Kev, what's happening, brother? Because outside of the home, we have to deal with so much. We have to deal with, even some people think they have to put on airs at their job to get that promotion. You know, on the playing field, in the organizations, they have to appear as if they are invulnerable and unaffected by so many different things. But when you get home, and it is you and your family, or you and your lover, or you and your wife, your husband, that needs to be a place, a special place of sacred communication and authenticity. Because then in that way, you can be vulnerable and you can be free. It's tough to be vulnerable and free if you're dealing in an environment that is not true and therefore is not trustworthy and therefore is not honest. That's right, Cousin Kev. Feelings are proof that it exists. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's Dana says. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. 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 So any questions? I'm going to open up the floor now for questions. If you have some questions about your relationships, now's the time. I will channel some questions tonight, or channel some answers to your questions, rather, if it is appropriate. And I just want to say something about channeling. You know, there will be times where I will get a question, and I may not have an answer to it, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie. I'm not just going to talk to be talking. I'm not going to do that. So sometimes if you ask me a question I don't have an answer, that is me being honest and me honoring you with my authenticity, with my honesty. Also, sometimes you may ask a question and Spirit may give me another answer to your question that really needs to be taken care of before you get to the question that you asked. And then I'm simply giving you what Spirit is telling me. I did hear your question. I don't mean to insult anybody, but sometimes there is something else that needs to be handled before we get to the question that we think is the most important. In other words, sometimes in the now, there's another more important question that needs to be dealt with or answered. Okay? So I just want to make that clear. I just want to make that clear. Johnny, how are you, my friend? All right. Let me see if I missed any questions here. I don't think so. Yes. Good. All right, I think we're doing pretty well. All right. Good, Johnny. Good. Good. Very, very good. So I'm curious, who here knows if their love language is, if one of the if one of their love languages is words of affirmation? Who knows if it is as well? Just let me know. And if you don't, again, you can actually pull up, well, at the end of this book, again, Gary Chapman, Ajani, very good. So I'm not the only one. Ajani, good stuff. So in Love Languages book at the end by Gary Chapman, there is a 30-part questionnaire that actually allows you to answer and find out what your love language is. So it's great. And also, you can honestly just type in love language quiz on the internet and download a PDF. It's all over the internet. All over the internet. So very easy to do, very easy to find out. Man, cousin Kevin, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. And my man, nah, you have not failed at all, my brother. You have not failed at all. Like you said, man, you're doing your thing. You know, we all have our calling, and we have to step into it. We have to step into it. Thank you so much, cuz. I appreciate you, brother. You about to sit up here and bring tears in my eyes, man. Everybody, that's my cousin on there, Kevin Simpson. His grandmother, wonderful Aunt Juro, passed away recently, and then my grandmother did as well a few years ago. And that was the last of the grand folks. So much love to you, Kevin. Thank you, brother. Thank you, cuz. Rita, hey, how are you? All right. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Again, I'm gonna channel. I'm gonna give some advice. I typically charge more for this. I mean, obviously, I'm not going into a full-fledged session with folk now, but I guess I'm saying that you want to take advantage of me while you got me here. I do have a special. I'll go ahead and make the announcement now. I am running a special. So you'll see in the post next to this, I'm running a special for a gift for $97 for everybody who listens to this post. And the PayPal link is right here, and it is for an hour session, 30 minutes of spiritual consultation / channeling, and 30 minutes of long distance healing work for $97. So I'm offering that. You have to click on the link by tomorrow evening. By tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. to take advantage of it. But I want to offer this to the people that are listening. Some of you come back often, and I really appreciate this. So this is listener appreciation. This is the least I can do, and I'm honored to be able to do this. So definitely take advantage of it. Definitely take advantage of it. Some people don't know, but you can do healing sessions. You can be anywhere in the world, literally, and I can do a healing session on you, because healing really energy really has no boundaries. So it's actually, in a lot of instances, it's actually easier to do. Believe it or not, it's actually easier to do. And I didn't understand it until I started doing it, but it's absolutely true. Healing sessions are actually easier to do. Sometimes they're more effective when it's a distance healing session. And I think it's because the energy itself, it is not relegated to physical touch. It's pure intention. It's pure intention. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce that, and I will introduce it again at the end. And again, that will be up tomorrow. Be up tomorrow evening, or it will be up in terms of done tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So, in terms of love languages, uh, again, we did words of affirmation tonight. We're going to do quality time next week. We're going to do quality time next week. Quality time next week. So I see Rita has joined, and I hope that I have been able to stay connected to everybody this time around. Good. So Johnny said that he knows that words of affirmation are one of his. Hey Karen, he said that he knows that words of affirmation are one of his love languages. Anyone else? Anyone else have words of affirmation as a love language? Quality time. Okay, Stephanie says quality time is your love language. Okay, fantastic. Good, good, good. So Stephanie, what is your husband's love language? Hey, Carol Sue. What I would suggest is doing these, if you haven't done it already, doing the test together. Just kind of sitting down with your spouse or your lover and doing it together. It's really kind of fun. And then you can discuss it. And again, I would say pick the top two. Pick the top two. And so, Stephanie, what is your husband's and words of affirmation? Good. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna step out on a limb a little bit here. I may be wrong. I have not researched this, and I'm actually going to research this, and I'll hopefully have some information. But I'm just going to say that my hunch is that words of affirmation will be up there for a lot of men. Got you. Okay, Carmelita, you're saying that acts are yours. Got you. Acts of service, but nothing over the top or demonstrative. Right, right. Not too showy. Right, right. Not too sensational. Right, I got it. Just get the job done. Right, right. I got you. Okay, Karen says physical touch for both she and Brian, and her husband Brian. Fantastic. Good, good, good. Yeah, I think, and thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, I think that it's important for men because, again, I think a lot of men, we're out there in the front and we're working and we're doing all these things, and we don't have a lot of the support that women have. So we're often out there by ourselves, and we're told to man up and go it alone. And we're told that that's what manhood is. Being by yourself, going it alone. You don't need your feelings to be appeased. You don't need you don't need kindness because you're a man, whatever that's supposed to mean. So I do think that words of affirmation will be important. I think it's important for a lot of men. I'm going to look that up and see if I can find some statistics on that. But it seemed like it would be. It seems like it would be. Because we just don't get it. We don't get it. As a matter of fact, we were told that for somehow, some way, it's not important. It's just not important. But the fact of the matter is that men in particular, and I talk about this often, we really need to be exalted and lifted up. A lot of our hearts are hurting in silence, and a simple word can encourage that man and pull him out of his cage and place him in the light and from the darkness. Whenever I see an older couple, I always like to ask them how long they've been together and then what's the secret. Kevin, that would be you too. There we go. Absolutely. So I asked an elderly couple this. This was last year. So true. Thank you, Stephanie. Absolutely. Thank you. And I asked a couple, what was it that kept them together so long? I think they were celebrating their 50th wedding, anniversary, marriage anniversary, and it was incredible. And so I said, well, what was it that kept you guys together? And the husband had kind of gone on. They were at a fair, so the husband had kind of walked past. He had gone forward a little bit, and the woman said this, and I will never forget this as long as I live. She said, and again, I'm sure this was not the only thing. I am sure that there's much more to it. I'm sure this can be different for everybody. That's fine. But again, I like to ask questions because I like to try and receive wisdom from elders and people that have already done it in terms of relationships. If you've been together for 50 years, we can probably guess that you're doing something right. Okay? Yes, some people say in relationships for the wrong reasons, but 50 years is a long time. So, what she said to me was, I never stopped believing in him. That's what she said. I never stopped believing in him. She said he fell. I would encourage him to get up. She said because I knew he wouldn't stay down. And she said that's one of the reasons, that's one of the things that kept us together. I never questioned him. I believed in him. And because I believed in him, he worked hard for me. And he worked hard for the family. That's right, Kevin. Indeed. Indeed. And I think that's something that we want to remember in terms of words of affirmation, is that encouragement oftentimes equals, indeed, great. Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Kevin. Yes, Carmelita, absolutely, thank you. Is that encouragement, part of the word encouragement is courage. So when you are speaking encouragement to someone, you are offering them courage. You're offering them the power, the drive to do what they want to do what they need to do. So part of that is, if you want to get someone to work harder or to work smarter or to keep going, encourage them. Demanding and badgering and nagging and beating down and being domineering is only going to last so long. People will only give you so much if they continue to do it out of fear, out of anger, out of guilt, out of shame. But if they're doing it out of your love, love being the most powerful and potent energy in the universe, they'll probably never stop. So I think that's really, really important. Gary, really, really important in regard to words of affirmation and just the power and what words of affirmation can do and how they can truly, truly transform. Thank you, Kevin. I love you too, brother. I love you too, man. All right, that's my cousin, y'all. I love it. So, when someone has been beat down, beat up, life looks like it is just KOing them, it's got them on the ropes, they're down by 5 and there's 10 seconds left, give them some encouragement, give them some kind words, which will help to inspire them and let them know that they are enough. Men constantly deal with the feelings that they may not be enough, and that is because the definition of manhood is so narrow. It's so narrow that there's very little room for anything else. So if you have the opportunity, and I'm sure most of us do, often, Use your words to build up your lover. Use your words to build up your husband. Use your words to build up your wife. Use your words to build up your girlfriend. Use your words to build up and encourage your boyfriend. And in that support, you may see, Deirdre, hey, you may see, Lisa, hey there, you may see people doing more than what they even thought they could do. And the reason for that is because it's not just them. One hasn't come on its own. Two have come together. So the power of two in unity is far more than 1 + 1. It is exponential. And that's what you get when you speak life and love and support and courage and kindness and encouragement to others with words of affirmation. You sometimes get miracles because you get a person one day that simply thought they couldn't do it until you reminded them that they weren't alone, until you reminded them that you believed in them, until you reminded them that you weren't going anywhere because you knew they would get up, until you reminded them that they are a hard worker, until you reminded them that they fell down before but they've gotten up each and every time, until you remind them how much you love them. Then that next day or that next hour, they're out and they're conquering the world. That's all they needed to hear, which tells them that they're not alone. Someone cares. They're being affirmed and respected for who they are. They have your support. You're in this with them together. And you support them in what they want to do as well. Who can say no to that? Who can say no to that? Because we all fall. We all fall. We all fall. We all fall. And yes, we can get up on our own. We can get up on our own. We can. Sometimes faster than others, but we can. But when we have someone there affirming us, we can do it a lot easier. Do it a lot easier. Got some great comments here. Kevin, speak, brother, speak. All right, brother, thank you. Deidre says, my daddy always talked about the power of two. So true. Thank you, indeed. Ah, Brother Kevin, that's all right. That's all right, cousin. Shed those tears, man. Shed those tears. Carmelita, the power of two. Deep is not 1 + 1. Two must walk together. That's right. That's right. When it's two, it's that partnership. It is that partnership. That partnership and that walk of love. That partnership and that walk of love. So unbelievably important. And again, that's a human need. That is way beyond gender. Man, woman, doesn't matter. Child, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I spoke about love, the love tank early on at the top of the hour, and I want to just revisit that real quick. When you're getting a person, I'm going to talk about, well, I'll talk about men as well, but men and women, of course. But when you get a person, and I'm talking about men here, the reason I keep talking about and referring back to men is because we simply don't get a lot of the encouragement and emotional support that we need. And we act like we don't need it. That we're the first ones to do. Sometimes that man or that person, that woman is tired. And you never know the history of their childhood. You never know how long they were alone until they met you. And sometimes being alone for so long can wear a person out. And that loneliness can be within or without a relationship. It can be in a relationship or it can be out of a relationship. You can be just as lonely in a relationship that's simply not right for you or that's not feeding you. So oftentimes that love tank will be empty because that person has been at it by themselves and alone. By themselves and alone. Where all they needed was some affirmation, some encouragement, some love, and some kind words, and someone to believe and support them. Carmelita says, I know I need to do better because my mate's language is different from mine. Affirmations. I like your affirmation suggestion. However, as women, wives, moms, sisters, many times we are believing in and affirming so many others, we become drained. How do we consistently ask for what we need lovingly? You know, asking is one part of it, and the other person has to make a decision to listen. They have to make a decision to listen. I suggested going to, getting on Google or whatever the search engine is and typing in the 5 love languages quiz PDF. And you can download it anywhere. I mean, there are many, many versions. You can download it. I would suggest doing that and filling it out together with your spouse, lover, significant other, etc. Going through that together, talking about your findings, talking about why it's important that quality time is important to you, talking about why it's important that words of affirmation are important to you, what you get out of that, so they know it's not just lip service. I need this because, so as I said before, I told you all that I need words of affirmation because of my upbringing and because I also am my own worst critic by far. That comes from being a perfectionist. And I need to give myself a break, and I'm working on giving myself a break. So I may sit here and I may look at something that I've done and I'm just deviling the details. I'm scouring and scouring and scouring and going over it and over it and over it. Someone comes to me and says, you know what? Someone that I trust and I know has my support and supports me, someone comes to me and says, you know what? That's really good. It's ready to go. I will probably listen to that. And I'll step back for a moment and consider that indeed, particularly if I've been going over it and over it and over it, that you know what, it indeed is done. Let it go, Kazembe. It's good. You can move forward. I would also suggest reading the book together. It's not a long book. It's not a long book. I would suggest doing a chapter or two a day or night, or maybe even a week. A week. Doing a chapter a week is fine. It's 100, about 200 pages. About 200 pages. About 200 pages. I got you. I got your back, brother. I'll call you, Kevin, afterwards, man. We'll connect. Love you, brother. We'll connect, cousin. So, those are some things that I could suggest, Carmelita, and I hope those things helped, because you're absolutely right. This is no good if one person is doing all the work, if one person is doing all the heavy lifting. It's got to be both people. It's got to be. That's a true partnership. One person doing all the heavy lifting is one person doing all the heavy lifting. We've got to be there for each other. We've got to listen to each other. We've got to love each other. We've got to speak each other's language. So, fine. My words of affirmation is important to me. Other side of that is I have got to know and I've got to be invested in what my spouse's love languages are. I've got to know. Thank you, Carmelita. Thank you. And I'm definitely stepping into that. Thank you. Thank you. So, and again, of course, you want someone that can stand on their own 2 feet. You want someone that knows that they're enough, all this type of thing. But life can be challenging. Life can be challenging. And I don't care who you are. Everyone has pain points and everyone has hurts. And your hurts may not be the same as someone else's, but you've got them all the same. And what it shows is that we're human beings, and we all need love, and we all need mending. Try to. If I just lost you, I'm so sorry. I thought I'd get through this session without dropping the connection, but so anyway, so there we go. So if there are no more comments or questions, I'm going to go ahead and close it up. We are edging on, 10 here. And I didn't get any questions. Well, actually, I did get a question. And I want to always encourage you all to ask more questions. And I will say this as well. And this is for you, Carmelita. This is for everyone, but specifically for you because you asked the question. We all deserve to have what we want. We all deserve to have what we want. Please don't attach, as long as it's, I'm given the fact that it's not hurting anyone, it's not involving children, and abusing children, and all that's not involving, hurting ourselves. All that's a given. So with that understanding, we all deserve what we want, to have what we want, without guilt, without shame. And that's why also within the context and the realm of relationships, it's so important, I believe, it's so important to look at that other person that you're with first. You all agree on the parameters of that relationship. You all agree on how you're going to love each other. You all agree on how you want to be loved. And that's what matters first. Other people are not in your relationship. You two are. Yes, you can have communal support. Yes, you can have family support. And those things are important. Those things are very important. However, if you don't get them, what are you going to do? You have to be about you two first. That you have to. You have to. You two are the ones that lay with each other. You're with each other day in and day out. So you've got to give yourself that liberty and that power to know that the relationship is yours first. It's yours first. Give each other the respect and the love that you deserve in that relationship. It's yours first. And I want to say as well that with these 5 love languages, they only work if we are willing to listen to the other person. There's two parts to it. One of them is finding out what your love language is, and the other one is finding out what the love language is of your spouse or your lover or your wife or your husband. That's the other side of it. And both parties have got to agree to listen and do their best. It may not be easy up front. It may be something that needs to be worked into. Maybe some people need to get into a routine of what it means to communicate to their spouse in their loving language. That's fine. What we're concerned about up front is that there's a willingness to listen, that the intention is there. If it's there, and there's love, I truly believe it will work itself out. Hey, Allison. All right. Carmelita, you said amen, and I received that. Wow. All right. All right. Peace and love to you. Carmelita, let's talk offline, Carmelita. Let's talk offline. All right. Give you a shout out. All right, folks. So I'm going to say again, I've got a special right now. It is a long distance healing and channeling session for an hour. And the special that I have going on until tomorrow night, until this time tomorrow night, at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is just $97. That's the gift I'm giving to you all as listeners here. So please take advantage of it. You can have the session at any time within the next 30 days, but you need to click the link and go through it by tomorrow, 10 p.m. All right, everyone, God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your input. I love the input I got tonight. It was just fantastic. And I hope you enjoyed the topic. Again, we'll be back here next week, Tuesday, same time, same bat channel, 9 p.m. I would ask that everyone, and this was much better this time. A lot of people joined up on the front end. So please, I'm going to start this at 9 as I always do. Most people did come earlier this time, and I would encourage you to continue to do so. And so we can continue to have these great discussions and this great feedback. All right. God bless you. My name is Kazembe Abena. This is Cultivating Intimacy, and I am the Heart Whisperer. And I will see you next time. Peace and love to you. Bye-bye.